So when Insta360 released their 360-degree cameras, I have to admit, I was really skeptical. I think part of the problem was most of the YouTube reviews and videos that you saw online did all these trick shots and really extreme angles that I couldn't see myself using myself in the videos that I like to make. I get it. It's something that gets more views and more clicks because it's a unique perspective we've never seen before, but it wasn't anything I really saw myself using. It wasn't until I bought this Insta360 X3 and started using it in some of the videos that I like to shoot that I realized the real power of 360-degree footage. It really comes down to the software mated with the technology that makes it so that I could do things that I couldn't do before out of GoPros and other action cameras. So what is the brilliance of 360-degree footage? It's the ability to capture that much information while you're out shooting video. You can actually fake the fact that you did not have multiple cameras on site all shooting the same sequence. You have all of this information to work with that you can live reframe within post-editing to just get that much more footage of everything around you. Now granted, this does come with one big limitation. You only have one point of reference. So while you could do the cool panning shots and everything else, what you can actually do is double up clips and make it look like you had one camera facing forward and one camera facing back like you do on these cameras. So what's a good example of this that actually works out in the real world? Well, a couple of weekends ago, we actually went out for Memorial Day weekend and took some families out on the boat to go tubing, surfing, and everything else. One of the cool things I was able to do with this camera that I would not have been able to do with my regular GoPros was actually capture what's going on behind the boat as well as what's in it. And what that allowed me to do is actually capture the reactions of all the people in the boat, including the kids, of people wrecking on the tube at the same time. Now previously I wouldn't have been able to do this without getting two GoPros and mounting them to the same mount. With the X3 from Insta360, I'm capturing all of that footage all at once. Then when I go into post-production, I can actually use both of those clips as two separate cameras or spin around with a nice panoramic view of the lake and everything else. I was not able to do this previously with any other action camera, and it wasn't some kind of trick shot or some extreme angle no one ever seen before. It just gave me the flexibility and the ease of use to capture that much more footage and get those reactions. So another way I use this is actually doing product reviews on Bike 198. If I'm doing a helmet review, I'm able to put one camera on the front of the bike that's actually capturing the helmet on my head in use and getting what I'm actually riding around in a 360-degree format. So now I can bring just one camera out with me out riding my bike instead of having to worry about getting multiple cameras to get multiple angles or kind of faking it by shooting one angle first and then shooting something else later. So where did Insta360 actually get this one really right? And it's the implementation between the software, the technology, and the accessories that make this extremely easy to use no matter if you've ever shot footage before or you're a professional. If you download the phone for the app, you can upload your footage to the phone and their AI will actually create kind of a highlight video for you and even put in background music that's ready to post online instantly, which makes it great for beginners because you're dealing with a lot of footage on these 360 cameras that you might not be very good at editing in the very beginning. Then you have their more powerful desktop app, which actually allows for more keyframing and advanced features that I actually find myself using more than importing it into DaVinci Resolve itself. There are plugins that you can use in DaVinci Resolve that let you edit 360-degree footage, but I found it's a lot better to just go ahead and make the clips I want within the Insta360 app and then export those in 4K and bring them into the project. And then there's the real home run when it comes to Insta360 is their accessories. Whether it be the extension pole, the selfie stick, the dive case, all of it works seamlessly within the camera and software to give you really great footage. Now I'm going to admit, I hate selfie sticks. However, these really long poles mated with this camera make it so you can get really unique vantage points and get closer to your subject. So I use it to go higher above the boat to get footage that I used to have to use a drone for, or if I have to go really far off the boat to actually get that footage that I need from out of these wide angle cameras, it allows for that to happen. Then when you add to the fact that those poles are actually taken out of the footage automatically for you, it makes it so you don't have to do that in post-production, and it gives you a really unique angle when you're using these cameras. So of course, like anything else, it's not all good news. First off, you're still dealing with an action camera. I've been dealing with the same problems with GoPros for years as well, and the Insta360 is not immune to it. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but all of the test footage that you see from any of these companies are in perfect lighting conditions. So you're skiing in bright sunshine with no trees, you're mountain biking in Moab in the desert with no clouds, you're surfing in the ocean on a perfect day. Hey look, we're at the top of a mountain where there are no trees or anything else in perfect lighting. These cameras do have smaller sensors and they are not as good in low light situations. The skiing one always makes me laugh the most because you're basically dealing with the most ideal lighting situation you could ever have. You have the sun out with a huge softbox underneath you that's just reflecting light as well. So down here in the Southeast US, we run into a big problem with action cameras that we are mountain biking under tree cover almost all the time, and they can really struggle with shadows to light to shadows, and we just don't have those perfect lighting conditions, so it's something we always have to work around. So just keep in mind, you are still dealing with an action camera, so if you're not in perfect lighting conditions, don't expect to get that perfect video footage that you see in the commercials. And then you are also dealing with a super wide angle lens. You'll notice in the tubing footage, once I start to punch in on the footage, it starts to degrade really quickly. So keep in mind, if your subject is going to be 20, 25 feet away, you are dealing with a really wide angle lens. And when you start to punch in on that footage and zoom in, it's not going to look very good, even with the resolution of these cameras. And then the last thing, while they do have these selfie sticks and tripods that really extend the range of the camera beyond your hand, and it automatically deletes it, which is a really cool feature, it doesn't delete the shadow. So it can create some weird footage issues where you actually see the shadow of the pole in the camera, but not the pole in the camera itself. In some situations, it could kind of create unbelievable footage because your eye and your brain don't really translate that because they're not seeing the actual physical object that's making the shadow. So it's something that you might want to look at when you're out, is that you have to reframe to get that shadow out of the picture. It also can create a unique situation to where if you're just sitting there holding the pole, it looks like your arm's holding something when it isn't in the footage. So be aware of when you hold the pole to try to make it look a little bit more natural and not like you're holding some phantom pole out in the air, because again, that could create kind of unbelievable footage when the brain tries to translate what it's actually seeing. So what do I see as the bottom line on 360-degree cameras? Well, the industry got rocked when GoPro first released their action cameras. It was getting you footage that you could never see before because it was so small and compact that it could be taken a lot of different places. Kind of the next jump for that was 360-degree footage. We are now able to capture not only a lot more footage, but get even more unique angles and get footage that we had never seen before. So it did kind of rock the industry again, being able to do that, unlike any other camera that's affordable that you can get yourself and go out and start shooting your friends and family and making videos to share online. And in my personal opinion, I think a lot of these trick shots that were featured actually probably hurt the camera a little bit because it wasn't something that people could really relate to that they would use in their own lives. So hopefully you were able to see how I was able to use 360-degree footage to film my family and friends that you can actually use in videos that you want to post yourself. I want to hear what you think down in the comment section below. Are you using a 360-degree camera and how are you using it to capture your videos? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to Rob Sutton for more videos like this in the future. And until then, on to the next one. Thanks guys, see ya.